Their idea of an outlaw was William S. Hart. A stage actor from New York, he was the Westerner of popular imagination. As early as 1916, he had established the kind of behavior we still expect from the Western hero. Hart always tried to make his films authentic, even attempting Indian Sign Language.
William S. Hart, he signed language like the women did, and the men criticized him. Now, say Bill Hart, he would, well, let me just say that. Long time ago, white man and Indian friend. Now, he would say, long time ago, white man and Indian friend. Just keep swaying, you know? And they confuse you. It's confusing. And when he say question means yes and no. Your heart says yeah, your heart says no. He wouldn't do that. He'd say, question.
Hart personified one of the legends of the West, good struggling against evil. Hell's Hinges was one of his most successful films. It had an Old Testament grandeur. Cowboys went into pictures straight from the Los Angeles stockyards. $5 a day was hard to resist when life on the range offered that much a week. With so many cowboys in pictures, the atmosphere on location was not too different from life on the range.
Big shots lived at the hotel, and the cowboys, they had a barracks as well as a big basement, you know, and they put about 20 bunks in there. But we had a table, we could play poker and cards, and the only difference was that you didn't have the old smell of the sweaty blankets and the sweaty saddles in a regular ranch bunkhouse that you'd have, and sometimes you wouldn't have as many flies around as you would have on the regular bunkhouse.
The West was really the West. I remember when I was working with Tom Mix, and we went to Prescott, Arizona, which was the capital, I think, then. The hotel had a balcony, I guess, you know, all the stores did, that came out over the sidewalk. You've seen them in the movies. And my mother and I were standing out there when two cowboys drove up and paced off, and one shot the other one, and then he got on his horse and rode away, and everybody ran out. Well, today it would be just like a movie, and I guess then it was just like a movie. I don't know what the outcome was, but he evidently had what's known as a grudge.
Tom Mix fused the wildness and glamour of the cowboy legend with his own extravagance. A born athlete, he staged his fights with a realism which went far beyond the demands of the camera, as stuntman Harvey Parry learned to his cost.
So now he runs down the stairs, and I meet him coming up the stairs. And he's supposed to kick at me and then take a punch at me. Well, he kicked me with those high-heel boots on in the chest, and I went back down on the floor, and I got up, and he hit me. He always wore gloves, if you remember, white gloves. But under those gloves, when he did a fight, he had tape. He wanted to be tough. So he hit me, and I went on my behind again. And he said, "I'm sorry, it slipped." And we did it again, and he did the same thing. But I got up, and I hit him and knocked him down. And I said, "Sorry, Tom, it slipped." But we got along very fine after that.
Tom Mix had begun as a real cowboy, but he lived in an age which welcomed exaggeration and adored extravagant showmanship. By the 1920s, Tom Mix had transformed his life into a Wild West show.
But when Mix got through with his silver buckles on the breeches and silver buckles on the boots and fringes hanging down without a bib and fringes at the elbow, he was dressed up like a Christmas tree, and no one ever equaled him.
Tom Mix inspired legions of movie cowboys who followed him.